to Canon Fodder and GOONER Matters. Now, this is going to be also a very short video. However, first of all, I want to just say, whatever comes out of my mouth, whatever I say on this platform does not necessarily share the views of Canon Fodder TV and family. So Glenwyn speak, and whatever comes from my mouth does not necessarily mean that Canon Fodder agrees with me, or if they share the same opinions and views of what I say. Let's just get that disclaimer out of the way, and also the disclaimer is in the links below. Also, I just want you to get into this box here, over this ugly mud. Put your comments there, put your opinions right there, and of course, right here, click the like button, and of course, you can also press the notification bell for all the notifications when Canon Fodder and GOONER Matters obviously go online. So yeah, all the best to the Gooners out there. Let's go into it just and see what is on the cards. Welcome back to Canon Fodder TV, and also simultaneously streaming with GOONER Matters. And I'm Glenwyn, the host of GOONER Matters, where your opinion matters. So yeah, let's get into it. It's only 3 segments, and I've got some bad news. Well, not exactly sure what the extent is of this news. Is that the first segment, Declan Rice picked up a kick yesterday and suffered an injury in training before the Barcelona match last night. So he got a kick, and it was said that he was uncomfortable, and obviously the manager did not want to take any chances of, let's take that away, any chances of him getting injured any further, because that was our last preseason game. Wednesday night, we're playing Monaco at home in the Emirates Cup. And then, of course, the curtain raiser on next week, Saturday, against Manchester City for the coveted Shield. So yeah, the Shield is only the curtain raiser, and whatever happens in that game doesn't really predict what is going to happen in the rest of the season. Last season, I think City lost it to I can't remember, it was Liverpool or somebody, and they still won the league and the treble for that. So that is purely just what it is. It's a curtain to all charities. So yeah, Declan Rice, he suffered a kick in training, and obviously he was not feeling comfortable, so therefore he wasn't on the pitch last night. I would have loved to see him against a very exciting Barcelona. And I mean, that game, it was UK time 3:30 and SA time 4:30, and we had a pretty much early morning. That game went up until 7 o'clock SA and 6 UK, and what was a game of note. Pretty much all things can be said about the game, but yeah, I hope Declan Rice was not very severe injured. He had obviously that kick, and that was a blow for him and obviously the team not to have our record signing in the team against Barcelona. So all the best to him, and I hope he will be ready for Wednesday night's Emirates Cup, where he has his home debut. And of course, that he can feel the love from the home fans, obviously. So I hope for Declan, he will be ready by then, and obviously that he can recover soon. So not much to be said about that. And then, of course, the next segment is all about Mr. Eddie Nketiah. Now, there's a lot of noise about this now for the last few days. It's all of a sudden, well, it's probably longer than that, but all of a sudden it just came to the fold that so much news about Eddie's departure. And this is what the reports are saying, is that Crystal Palace named Arsenal attacker as the #1 target this summer. Crystal Palace are interested in signing Eddie Nketiah this summer. They have named Arsenal striker Eddie Nketiah as their #1 target to lead the line ahead of next season. The Eagles are in the market for a new forward after star player Wilfried Zaha has left the club to join Turkey's side Galatasaray this week. Now, according to the Eagles Beak, which is obviously a Crystal Palace outlet, Eddie Nketiah has been identified as Crystal Palace's #1 target. However, any move will require Jean-Philippe Mateta to leave the club in order to facilitate the deal financially. Crystal Palace aren't the only club interested in the Arsenal man ahead of the 2023-24 campaign, with West Ham United and Brentford also keen. Now, the Bees obviously are without Ivan Toney until December due to his ban from football, meaning the club are desperate to bring a new striker over the next couple of weeks. West Ham are also in for a new forward, with Michail Antonio set to leave this summer. And Eddie Nketiah feels he's proven he can score 20-plus goals in the Premier League for a club who will offer him a regular starting spot. Something Mikel Arteta can't do at the Emirates with the likes of Gabriel Jesus and newly signed Kai Havertz at the club. Obviously, the reports is going further and further. Now, as you can see there, Eddie is obviously in England, 24 years old, is an Arsenal forward. And I think the club doesn't want anything less than 40. So whether they're going to get 40 for Eddie, I'm not too sure. So Eddie obviously has so much to show still. I mean, he has been exciting in the build-up of the preseason. Obviously, when he was called upon last season when Jesus was injured, and I mean, he obviously came into his own and scored a couple of goals. And I mean, you could see Eddie is a goal scorer. So you will get behind the defense, and obviously score those goals. Whether it's going to be that person at Arsenal is in doubt, because Jesus obviously is your #1, and Balogun want to be #1, and Eddie obviously came out the other day, and this is so ironic that he came out, I think, early in the week, saying that he came to that conclusion that he has to be patient to get his time on the pitch, and he is obviously second in the pecking order, and he has specifically said that, and not long after these reports came out that Eddie might be leaving the club. So it's so much contradiction to what the manager is saying. The manager is saying there is space for Eddie, there's space for everybody, but also on the other side, behind the context, he is saying that we're not sure what's going to happen in the market because there's still a long way to go, and of course they still need to slimline this and get players to obviously do whatever they are required to do. So it's quite a lot of work. He also said after the game yesterday is that he wants the players to obviously fight and give him a headache to obviously make choices regarding the squad on the day. So for Eddie to come out and say that he has come to the conclusion to be patient in order to get his spot on the pitch, and obviously play whatever role that is required of him. And he said that not like some that is moaning off the pitch, and just be patient, wait for your chance, and stop moaning type of thing. And I think he was referring to some of his teammates, obviously, like Balogun, that has come out and said that he doesn't want to go out on a loan again. He wants to play football in London or wherever else. Obviously, he would play. So it's a big statement from Eddie, and of course, I would obviously take off my hat for that. Is that you've become patient in order to wait for a chance for him to obviously show what he can do on the pitch, and in the same time, West Ham and of course Crystal Palace has come out and also said that they would be interested, and Brentford as well, because Brentford doesn't have a out and out number 9 at this stage. And it also go on to say that Crystal Palace has made him his first the priority target per se, and what a target for Crystal Palace. And I mean, I think having an English manager as well in Roy Hodgson can also somehow bring out of Eddie, which Arteta might not be able to, because if you remember that Eddie is still the under 23 or 21 top goal scorer for England. And I mean, that shows that the player can score goals. I mean, he showed it to us at Arsenal as well. Obviously not good enough for most, me included. He's not that prolific sort of scorer or player, or he scores goals. That is what we need. But is he going to score 20 plus goals for Arsenal? I don't think so. So yeah, that's basic and about Eddie. And then of course the last segment before we're going to go into the live chat. I know there's quite a bit of people in the live chat there as well. So I'm very, very impressed and proud of Leo Trossard. I feel in my mind that Trossard should play either number 9 or a left-sided 8, because the way the team was set up last night, it was Jesus, Trossard, and Saka up front, and then of course Partey, Odegaard, Havertz in the middle, White, Saliba, Gabriel, and Timber in defense. And of course Ramsberg. Timber had a brilliant game on left-sided fullback. Partey showed what Partey can do, and if Partey should go, we will miss him. Definitely will miss him in that center. Obviously, we know Declan Rice has picked up a kick in before the match in training. Therefore, he wasn't on the pitch. So Partey came into his own, show the Partey that was seen last season and in a team like Atletico, where he demanded his presence, and not demanded, he commanded his presence in that midfield. Yes, here and there, a bit of a mistake of him, but he was brilliant in that midfield. And if we're going to let him go, we're going to have to either get somebody of the same stature or even better, because there's nobody that can command in an Arsenal shirt the middle like what he did. But this guy here on the screen, Trossard, what a player. He reminds me of a player in Santi Cazorla. Both feet, he can kick comfortably with both feet. He roams around and he confuses the defenders and the opposition midfielders. We didn't have him last season in pre-season. Now we have him. Now we can see and build around him as a left-sided 8, filling in for Granit Xhaka. And he picked up the player of the match last night against Barcelona. And what a match. If you've seen the match, you will understand what I mean. Or if you look at the context of what I am saying, is this player should be our number 8, left-sided, taking over from Xhaka. So please, again, just leave us your opinions, leave us your thoughts, and also, obviously, This side here is where you can see where everybody else has put their comments. And then, of course, yesterday I've asked a question, and I'm not sure if anybody has commented on it. Who do you want to see in an 8 or in a 6 position between? I think, Alex, if you're in there still, maybe that's an opportunity for a poll question. Who you want to see at number 6? Is it Declan Rice or is it Partey? And obviously vice versa in a number left side at 8. Would it be one of the two? Even so. So yeah, let's go into the chat. There's quite a bit of people in the chat. Let's see who's here. Afternoon, Alex Emerson. Well, I am as pretty as can be. I'm not sure if I'm Alex. So afternoon to you, my man. Let me put on this Rahul Mohan. Sorry that I missed there. Come on, you Gunners. Great game, Rahul. Yeah, I agreed. It was a very good game. Good afternoon, Brother Glenman. Alex, good afternoon. You should be on holiday, my man. I'm not sure what you're doing here, but welcome to you. Or are you looking up on me and see if I'm doing a good job? Hey, your position in the Cannon Fodder TV as host is questionable, I'm sure. Sorry, there I've missed something there. Emerson is saying calf strain may miss the game against Monaco. Depends on how respond to treatment when they are back in training on Monday, back at the training ground. Yeah, calf injury is quite a bit of a painful thing, and also it needs a bit of treatment. Gail Birmingham. Sorry, Gail. It's the first time. Welcome to Cannon Fodder and GOONER Matters. It's the first time that we see, I see you. 40 mil for Eddie Nketiah. Someone has a sense of humor. You know what? Take it up with Richard Garlick or with Edu. I also feel it's too much for a player that has scored, 11, 12 goal contributions in last season. 40 mil, that's quite a bit. I think that's too much for a Eddie in a what you call a second pecking order striking role. 40 mil. I mean, we got Jesus for about 40, 45, if not mistaken. So how can you sell Eddie? Probably because it's English, and also because he just signed a new long-term contract. That could also be part of why, but still 40 is still a lot of money. I would not think it is B40. Emerson, Balogun picked up a foot injury in training, hence he was training alone. And about Nketiah, it's hard to say whether he will leave, as both Balogun and Nketiah have the same agent, as that could be the key. Oh, that's a good point, Eddie. Emerson. It's actually a good point, but at the end of the day, is whether you have the same agent, you still have to make a decision for your own career. You know what I mean? If the agent is gonna see the two leave together, then I would say the agent would want his own pocket to be filled, and that reminds me of Mr. Stan the Man. Well, that I've put in there for free though. Yeah, I think either or. I would not let both go. You need to obviously strengthen, not weaken yourself. So if Eddie goes, I would say bon voyage, Eddie, because we now have seen what Eddie has done. We have not seen that from Balogun in Premier League. Or if you have watched League I don't know if anybody watched League that's in here or on these channels. You know what? League is not one of the strongest leagues. I mean, Pepe has scored 20 odd goals in League Lacazette has scored over 20 goals in League I mean, for Pete's sake, Nuno Tavares has scored 7 goals in League. So it just tells you about the league, yeah. So Bellingham has to show what he can do in the Premier League, of course. So I would not really look read much into that. Um, okay, Alex has got a question. Could Trossard be the hidden gem for the new season? And that is what I've been thinking, Alex. I mean, Trossard has had a beautiful preseason thus far, and he's been impressed. He's impressing me against Barcelona. He's impressing me against, even though we've lost the game against Manchester United, MLS, and so far the last 4 games that we've played preseason, he's been consistently brilliant individually, that is, but his build-up play, his play with the rest of the squad is just intelligent. And I mean, again, I see him as a type of Cazola type of player, because he's a magician. He's all over. He's confusing the players. And I mean, what happened last night, or in last night's game, I'm saying last night because in America it was last night. The two of him and Odegaard, it was a shift of position at all times. And I mean, that was, to me, was phenomenal. And big ups to Nketiah that has probably commanded something like that. But you need the player, obviously, to understand what the manager wants. And Trossard, being a tactician himself and brilliant intelligently in the football sense, I think can execute any instruction from whatever manager it is. I mean, if it was under a Potter, look what he did under Potter. I mean, look what he did under De Zerbi, and even now more so under Nketiah. So I think you are right there. I can give you that answer, that he is perhaps the gem that we need for the new season. Hopefully he can stay fit. Gail says, depends what game time Trossard is given. Gail, I think for what we've seen now in every game that is obviously has been playing in, Nketiah has his favorites, and I think Kai Havertz is going to be one of those. But in my opinion, I believe that is what I want to see, is Trossard being that left-sided 8. Havertz didn't have a bad game himself, because at most times Trossard seems like the number 9 in the beginning stages. But for me, he is a all-rounder. He's a player that can play in any position, and his strength is coming from deep in the midfield to come score a goal or take on a defender, whatever the case may be. And you're right, it depends on what type of game time he's going to get, because, like I say, Nketiah has his favorites, and by the looks of it, Kai Havertz is one of his favorites this time out as well, like the likes of the X-Men that has been one of his favorites. So I don't know what they see in Kai Havertz. Again, he didn't have a bad game. He put in a nice tap in. Second goal for the preseason, again, doesn't mean any real thing. It obviously builds up his confidence and the confidence of the players around him. So, but I think Trossard gives you much more than what Kai Havertz gives you, because he's just that intelligent on the ball. Trossard, that is. Sorry, I've done that. I am wondering if he will be a first-team starter. No doubt he will chip in goals. Isn't that why we bought him? Of course, that is why we bought him. We don't have a striker, per se, that can score you 20-plus goals in one season, because we're sharing the goals across everywhere. But Trossard, I mean, before he came to Arsenal, he was a goal machine. He was a machine of note. He could score goals from the right side, from the center, from the left side. He can take a shot at the box, like we've seen. And you know what? If he gets the time he needs, everybody will get enough time to play football in Arsenal this coming season, because of the multiple competitions that we are in. However, if you want to win something, or rather, let me put it this way: if you want to win the Premier League, you need to score goals. You need to score goals, goals, goals. The cup games is every now and then. It's not every weekend game. It's not every weekend that you will see the Champions League or the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup. Is in stages, but the Premier League is going to get you the points that you need by scoring goals. Because last season we had 20 odd goals behind City, purely because Hazard was a freak in scoring the goals. So I am sure he can bring us much more goals this season and contributions, of course. Pardon me. Emerson Trossard will chip in his share of goals for the coming season, but needs to start most matches and can be rested for a cup. And that's it. Exactly what you're saying, Emerson, is exactly what I've alluded to now, is that he has to play in the Premier League more than any other competition, like the Carabao Cup, when it's needed by the latter stages of the competition. If you go as far as quarterfinals, and then you can start bringing in Trossard or your stronger players in there, and you will score your goals. You will set you up with plus minus 15, if not more. And yeah, go tell your mom and your pop that Glenwyn said that he will score you plus minus 15 or more goals. Tired, Gunnosaurus, how's it? Tired afternoon. Trossard is class. He has to start on the left wing. Him and Kai Havertz will move all over the final third, which is also a good observation. Again, it's the left-sided situation where they can rotate in the gameplay, which is also an option, and I'm sure. And this is the thing I want to just ask you guys: is with all these options, from the backside right through to the front, except for the goalkeeping position, is, do we see a plan B, a plan C, and a plan D in the next season or so? Because last year we only had a plan A. Now we have a bit of squad in depth and strong. Apart from a couple of players again, one in particular. However, do you see some depth, or rather some plan B and C and D up to Z, perhaps, because that's something to look forward to? Tyre is saying Partey on the left and Rice as number 8. I think that's also a good observation. I would rather keep Partey as your 6, and because Rice has been a more mobile player, a box-to-box, number 8 is also a good opportunity. And also at times you can put them in a double pivot role where you have your attackers maybe doing, then you can play a 4-2-1 of what? 4-2-1-3, if that makes sense. Is it 4-2-1-3? Yeah. So there's so many options that Nketiah can look after. Sorry, afternoon, Glenwyn. Hey, man, no worries, Emerson. No worries. Good afternoon, Glenwyn and Alex and the whole Canon Fodder TV family. Monty, hasn't been a while. It's been a minute and I've seen you in the chat. Please leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new here. Again, with that being said, Monty, thank you. With that being said, we are streaming simultaneously on Canon Fodder TV and on GOONER MATTERZ, so please subscribe and also put your like Monty has requested. Partey as a 6 and Rice as a 8. I think that should be the case, and yeah, that is the narrative, or it should be the narrative, and it should show on the pitch. Patino to Luton. Okay, so we're playing against. Is that on loan, Monty, or is that permanent? It would be nice to see how you fare against Arsenal if it's a permanent deal. Question: I do and remember both Balogun and Nketiah have gone on loan one was successful and the other one was not. And I think Balogun should get a chance and see what he can do as a. Of course, I mean, we've seen what, as I said earlier on, Emerson, we've seen what Eddie has done or what Eddie can do in the Premier League, that is. Balogun, we can't and we did not have any evidence of what he can do in the Premier League. So it'd be nice for Balogun to stay out like that and obviously get his chance to show Arsenal and the fans what he can do as a number 9. Monty, thank you, goodness, for being here. We appreciate your time and interaction and on the channel. Well, thank you, Monty, for pointing that out. So yeah, I mean, that is basic. Is there more anymore? No, there's no more. So yeah, I just want to regroup and go through the segments again. Breaking news is that Declan, well, it's not breaking news anymore. I mean, it was yesterday. Declan Rice has suffered an injury in training, and as Emerson has alluded to, it is a calf injury, and he was uncomfortable. Obviously, the manager didn't want to take any chances with that because our next game is against Monaco in the Emirates Cup at the Emirates on Wednesday night. And I would have hoped for him to obviously be a part of that, to be ready for the next game on Saturday next week, the curtain raiser of the Premier League, which is the Charity Shield, yeah. And then of course we had Eddie Nketiah being linked with Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace has made him his number 1 target. If Eddie goes, I would not be upset though, but I would also say bon voyage, good luck and all the best to you, because he needs game time. He needs to get into the England squad to be a successor for either Kane or be a backup to new striker would be for England. And then of course my player for the campaign as well has been Trossard. Since the Germany up until last night, he was very consistent in my opinion. He deserves to have that thing for last night's game, but I think he deserves much more than that. And what he deserves is a starting time in the Premier League consistently to show his quality and his magician, or his magic rather. Then I didn't have it as one of my segments, and I don't have anything of him in here. It is my favorite player. I don't know whoever can maybe guess who that player is, except for Alex. Emil Smith-Rowe. What a comeback he had for the last 2 games. And that is an advert for us to maybe, if he can stay fit and get a bit of less stake in him, he can be a very, very good asset to have. He also want to push into the first team. I think he can become one above Vieira. I would like for him to become one above Vieira and consistently perform like he did now in the preseason. What a performance from him. I love this guy. I like him, but he has to stay fit. So we can obviously expect some good run-ins for him. I would like also for him to push through and become that important player he once was at Arsenal 2 seasons ago. So Emil Smith-Rowe, big ups to him. Let's go in the chat for the last time before I say goodbye. Where did I end up? I ended up with thank you. Yes, Emerson. That will be a good move for Coutinho to Luton on a permanently basis, spending the fee. Obviously, I mean, he's got a good quality there. There's a huge player in him, Coutinho, Charlie. Emerson, I would love for him to stay at Arsenal and force his way into the first team, which is very unlikely to happen, especially with our new players that has come in. And he's got a good temperament to play in big games, because I've seen him in the Championship last season. He takes on players. He's taking on some defenses, attacks, and he's got a good intelligence on him as well. Third choice top out on the 1st of August. Okay, that's next week. I'd like to see that. If you have any previews, can you send it to me, please, Emerson? I'd like to see that. All right, guys, I think we came to an end of this, and I want to just say thank you again, and alluded to what Monty has said there. Thank you for taking time out to watch Cannon Fodder TV and GOONER Matters. I hope that you enjoyed this video and this stream. Alex is on holiday. Alex will probably be back next week. I'm not sure. We haven't touched base on when he will be back. I don't think I'm going to be back tomorrow, but I'm sure Alex has something up his sleeve for tomorrow and whatever happens this weekend. But let's watch and see what's going to happen in the next coming days. Obviously, there's still updates on Tierney that might be leaving, Partey that might be leaving, Balogun that might be leaving. Obviously, we've heard now that is Eddie. And also, among other players, Rob Holding has got to go ahead to obviously leave the club. And I think the third goal that came through last night was because of Rob Holding's mistake. Pardon. So, yeah, there's Nuno Tavares, there's Cedric Suarez, Sambula Konga, Ranison, Okong, I think the other goalkeeper, Okongwa or something like that. Those are all the guys that are linked to be leaving the club. But Kieran Tierney, to me, must stay. Partey must stay. Balogun must stay. Those are the three players that I would like to stay that are linked to be leaving. Those are the three players that I would like to see stay and fight for their positions, and give the manager a headache, like he asked last night in the post-match interview. He said that he wants the players to give him a headache of choice. So he is spoiled for choice right now. It's only pre-season, so give him a headache to obviously sort of make the right choices. And one thing before I go, what I want to say is that Arteta is coming to a position of frustration last season, and I hope we can see a change in that, especially now that he's got a host of players that he can choose from. And I mean, it's up to 18, almost 20 players that he can choose comfortably from a first-team perspective. And what a problem to have, which is a good problem. Hopefully everybody can stay safe and obviously injured-free. And yeah, let's see what the new season holds for us. Let's talk again about next week or sometime over the weekend. And all the best to everybody. Be safe, and obviously look forward to what's coming on Cannon Fodder TV and GOONER Matters. And your opinion matters.